Hi, I get to sweep in from the other side now. New setup, trying to do this standing up, couple of new initiatives. Journal, that really helped. Like keeping a journal, keeping tabs on everything, including the thoughts, but not going a bit too far, really helps to just gain self-awareness. All the negative thoughts, all the things that I've kind of missed out on doing, or things I badly scheduled, all of that just came out. So, once I was saying or telling you guys that I was starting a journal, I never expected to have this kind of eye onto myself and just habits and multiple ways to improve myself. So it's been interesting. Yes, I've done the, let's say, sum of the previous month, and this is where like everything's starting heading. When it comes to just trying to get a better scheduling habit, when it comes to trying to get rid of the negative thoughts, including getting rid of the news, when it comes to just trying to have a more drive, more motivation. And so far, it's really helped. A couple of things I picked up, such as how I keep or how I get to a couple of boosters, okay? When it comes to learning, I can make a, let's say, comparison, kind of a comparison or a similarity check between when it comes to gaming, when it comes to art, and when it comes to life. Meaning that Street Fighter story, you know, beating level 8 Bison without really knowing he was level 8, just by just trying over and over and over and over and over. I can apply the same thing for art, just doing it, just applying it over and over and over and over to push myself towards animation, just trying it. You know, there's no consequences. Whatever, if I lose, but the end of the goal, alright, the end outcome is basically beating Bison. When it comes to animation and when it comes to drawing, the end outcome is making a great fucking picture. So getting this kind of seeing the correlation. I love grinding. I love taking time to practice, especially when it comes to fighting games and hit detections and combos. Alright, apply the same thing to art. When it comes to understanding my range of motion, when it comes to my pencil, understanding some of the option selecting that I can do with my lead, so meaning shading, going from shading to a line, knowing how I can pull it off and at what angle do I do it, like just getting that same mindset or seeing the correlations between the mindset and even applying it to life. When it comes to my art, I found out that I need to break things down a bit further, in a sense. Like I have multiple modes, but one mode that I love to learn is breaking things down to their smallest step. So let's say gesture, then silhouette, alright, then solid form, then we get even more details, you know, going to the muscles and to the bone, or the bones that are coming out, and then shading. When it comes to life, the same thing can be applied, you know. If I want to do a task, break it down to the smallest thing. And the same kind of goes for trying to plan and schedule things for various weeks. So a lot of similarities have been caught. Another thing that I needed to work on is basically just forgiving. Forgiving my parents for what happened, what they did. And I still have that small amount of bitterness, but I want to get rid of it. Why? Because it's useless. Why do you want to be angry? You know, everyone's angry nowadays because it's either the news, it's either bigotry or ideologies or whatever, you know, all that shit. And it's like, you know what? I don't need that. I want to be like on this constant motivation flow. So when it comes to, let's say, past industries I've worked at, I kind of need to let that go. When it comes to my parents, I kind of need to let that go. When it comes to high school, I need to let that go and just boost forward. So who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if I'm going to meet back my parents? I said 1 year break. Who knows if it's going to be like, you know what? I understand that you may have had these habits from your previous parents. So I'm going to let you off the hook. No, not to be that pompous, but just basically saying, you know what, I realize that you picked those things up from the people that you didn't really like, and it takes a while to just gain that self-awareness. And hell, I still have a lot of work to do on myself, alright? There's a lot of things that I picked up from them or other things I picked up throughout the years that I kind of just need to let go. Especially, again, when it comes to taking things to the letter, when it comes to learning, got to get rid of that. When it comes to gratification, self-gratification, you know, completely removing that thought whenever I do a sketch or whatever that, oh, I'm gonna put this on Instagram and have some likes. No, fuck no. That makes no sense at all. Yet, back when I was, you know, in wee little school, you'd have to do it or else. And then you'd get some gratification. But it's like, no, when it comes to your own passion, when it comes to your own project, the gratification is the level that you acquire from doing that, not someone else looking at it and putting a little heart shape. It's getting better at your craft. It's pushing those projects even further. And as you can see, like, it's just having a switch of mindset. And again, when it comes to learning, not taking things to the letter, but getting a growth mindset, continuously seeing a challenge. Put on that endless challenge music from F-Zero, you know, just, alright, maybe I didn't get that sketch right now, but I'll get it later, and at least I've learned a few things. What have I learned from trying this? This is the mindset. This is the thing that's just getting me to go, alright, what I've learned from doing this, and this. Even though this is not a sketch I like, I at least learned all of these that I can integrate later on. So it's basically just, this journal thing just helped me get a switch of mindset, which is great. And now I'm at the point where, okay, the mindset switch is slowly happening, okay? It's going to take time. It's a habit. Repetition. Like fighting that level 8 bison, alright? But now it's going to be getting more of a hardcore discipline aspect, but not, you know, not hit finger type of hardcore. No, but mostly having better scheduling, not using a to-do list, but just blocks of interest. It's a tad bit weird because I'm mostly looking at various motivational speakers and planning strategies to try and go with my flow, alright? Because there's often times where, let's say I would overwork on freelancing project, but at that point I wouldn't have anything to show on Instagram or on Patreon or even time to set up my own project. And it's like, okay, well look. It's time to set things up in one step by step, knowing how much time the steps are going to take, possibly purposely spending or laying those out throughout the week so that I get enough time to do everything. Because what I find way too often would be when it comes to the urgency, the financial urgency, that would instantly send me back looping into the freelancing aspect instead of having, you know, seeing that throughout the week there's going to be 1 or 2 freelancing projects that I'll complete to get the revenue at a specific date, but during that time, during the same day, when I finish one task, I'll have time to do another task, such as doing the thumbnails for the comic, which I'm currently doing, planning out the pad piece some more, you know, going into the scripting, maybe even recording some in-game footage, like having separate blocks of tasks so that I don't like cluster into urgent all the time, because every time things will look urgent to us, yet if we properly schedule it, then you know, you have less stress, things look more manageable instead of being on constant urgency mode. So it's kind of shifting away from my old game testing a mindset to more of an entrepreneur mindset. And of course, being open-minded really helps out into looking at various strategies, not taking them to the letter, and saying this strategy, a bit of this strategy can work for me, another bit can work for me, and then just picking and choosing. But all of that with self-awareness really helped. It's kind of nuts, you know? And I know that if I got into that train of thought way earlier, I may have had a chance to attend to Comic-Con and Otakuton, because I would have had a much better budget plan and mindset. And another thing about the mindset, not simply saying I am going to thumbnail this, even though I just said it. I should say, I'm gonna make an epic story. I'm gonna work on Extra Stage the remake right now. Like, just getting a different shift of voice and way to look, the perception, so that I can get this hype going, along with visualization at night to plan the next day. But that's a whole different, that's a whole different topic. But just finding ways to psych myself into getting these along with scheduling. It's making that balance, because you can get a fire starting, yet if you fully focus on one thing, like let's say I fully focus on projects, the urgency of financial comes in. So you see, this is where the balance has to come in, and this is where I'm loving learning about these strategies. I'm loving the amount of resources that are online to learn about this, because this is shit they should have taught in school. But then again, we look at the school system and it's a mixed batch. Anyway, let's not blame the school system. Let's just say if I was pushed in a situation I needed that earlier, I would have made the request, or I would have took the decision. And now I'm at this point. So now it's like, okay, well, time to build up those internal skills and try to get better, So I'm loving this. I'm really loving this. I've learned a lot throughout the last year. And there's more to learn. There's always more. It's a work in progress. But I'm getting into fight mode for this. And again, standing up, doing these videos, and not simply sitting down, because, the attitude would change. Now it's like, alright, I'm in fight mode. I can tiger uppercut anybody that comes from these locations, and trying to find a better balance in all of that. So it's been great. And to resume it all, the journal, loving it. One entry or multiple entries per day, but every day, noting it down, checking the week after the week, checking the entire week after the end of the week, and then checking the entire month after the end of the month, to get like a big spatial awareness type of things. And mental spatial awareness, in a sense, your mental space, whatever you write down, and then kind of noticing, what am I not writing down? Am I not writing down enough about my emotion? Am I not writing down about what I've accomplished? Am I not writing down enough what I'm grateful for? Because gratitude is just key, to get you into this hype. You're thankful. I'm thankful for living in Canada, and in this place, this new place, great place. So that's been great. Self-awareness through the journal always helps, and then looking for more material, looking for more knowledge, getting multiple sources of knowledge for a subject that will help in self-development. So looking at various self-help gurus, not literally gurus, but self-help people, motivational speakers, looking at strategies, just getting a melting pot of all that, and then picking and choosing, and knowing the ways you learn best. I seem to learn best by repetition, copying my idols like Glenn Keane, Glenn Vilppu, Michael Hampton, a couple of others, and I can see, seeing the correlation in the way I learned in one aspect of my life to others, to see if I can make that gap. So when it comes to gaming, that can influence my art and my life, and then vice versa. So lots of learning. I'm loving this. I'm not going to make promises by telling you on which specific week the Pad of Peace #2 is going to come out, or if it's even going to be this month. I'm not going to make promises. I can just tell you that Channel Absolute Zero's birthday was on August 10th, so go say hi to him. Tell him to move his butt. No, he's a chill guy. Tell him to kick some asses. And I need to ask him to record some of his lines after I record my lines, so there I get to schedule that in one block and saying, alright, I gotta record my lines, send it to him with the storyboard, and then have his line integrate, wrap it up, next script. So we'll see what happens. Same goes for you guys on Patreon. With this new rescheduling aspect, things are going to be much more fluid, because I'm not going to be totally concentrated on freelancing. I'll at least have some good time to show you what's happening with the comics, show you what's happening with the Pad of Peace, and a couple of other side projects, along with some streaming instances, because there's going to be stuff to do for Dungeons of Betrayal, which is still on track. Dark Elite Studio is still doing some amazing work, so they keep upgrading that engine and adding some new stuff to it, and I get to work on some assets. So I'll see if I can stream at the same time. Alright, kept you guys for too long. I was trying to shorten it down. I'll see you all later, and now to awkwardly walk off.